Hey everyone, welcome to Kats Creations live on a Friday night, where tonight I'm going to teach you something I only taught my private group last year. And as far as I know, I don't think anyone has taught this method of how to make an Americana patriotic flag swag on a grapevine. So it's a super simple process. The problem being is trying to find the material that you need to do this. But I'm going to give you a couple alternatives tonight. I've done the research before I went to the live, and there are some similar places of what you can kind of use to maybe get by, but because I've never worked with it, I can't advise you and say, oh, well, that would be a good option to use. So this is our public group, so feel free to like and share. Sharing is good because if you're looking to do this wreath, once you get your flag material, then you're going to want to have a quick reference to this. The great thing is it'll be on YouTube probably by tomorrow morning at the latest if I don't do it tonight. So you can always go to my YouTube page, which is KatsCreationsNMore, and find the Patriotic Americana Grapevine wreath. So do we have anyone joining us?
We sure do.
I know it was a short lead in.
Yep, we've got Gail, Deborah,
hi, Gail.
Audrey. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Audrey. Jane, Jean, Gail, a different Gail, Allie, Denise, Sharon, Jennifer, Rose, Brandy, and Sharon, and Marsha.
Okay.
Well, so welcome all.
First of all, if you're a first-time person joining us tonight, please let us know that you're a first-timer. Let us know what city and state you're from, because a lot of times connections are made here to find a crafting buddy in your neighborhood, your city, or fairly close to you to where you can have a crafting partner. Let me make sure I'm hitting all the options. YouTube subscribers. So if you're watching me on YouTube right now, this is not a live. This is a Facebook Live from Friday, May 15th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, because I'll have people just like start commenting and they're wondering why I don't comment back. You're watching a replay of an earlier Facebook Live. So if you ever want to join in with us and ask your questions, join me every Friday night during those time frames on Facebook. And this is where we will get together and teach you how to make something amazing.
So Yvonne Higgins says first timer, Midland, North Carolina. Welcome, Debbie. Or welcome, Yvonne.
Welcome.
Debbie asked what size wreath is that?
This is an 18-inch.
18-inch.
This is an 18-inch grapevine, and here in California, we are still on a barely movable, stay-at-home order. So none of our craft stores are open. Everything is available online. But I believe when I ordered these, it took them 2.5 weeks to just send me 5 18-inch grapevines from Joann's. I prefer Joann's because they make nicer grapevines. Sometimes it's a lot less debris that you'll find in it, although the one I did yesterday had quite a bit. It was like craft mat full of all kinds of stuff. So, question?
So it's Rose Orange, but I believe her name is another name. She says, question, I know I can't share on private, but can I save? No, you can't save the video. You can only watch it in Kats.
Yeah, private group members, if you think you're saving it to your computer, the minute that you're no longer an active member in the private group, that video goes away because it's only viewable in the private group Facebook setting, if that makes sense. So it's not truly saved to your computer. The location is saved. So, any other questions before I start?
Judy said hello and good evening to both of you. I love working with grapevine wreaths. You make it look so easy.
Oh, well, awesome. I love grapevines too because they are easy.
And then Mary Patterson watching from sunny summertime, West Virginia.
Welcome.
And sharing to Karen Buckley. Thanks for sharing, Mary.
Thank you very much for doing that. Anything else?
Amy said hi from Indiana. Excited for this one. And that's it.
All right. So 18-inch grapevine. I already did the pre-cleaning because a lot of the cleaning takes me an hour or more. And the reason why I do it is there's some people who just, they might do the mediocre trim job around the outside, trimming anything that's sticking way out, or on the inside or on the back, but they don't really go through and pull out, oh God, I'm trying to think of what you generally find. A lot of pine stuff is found within the grapevine wreath, so pine needles, pine branches, no pine cones yet, no critters yet, alive or dead, but a lot of leaves. So usually my tool of choice to clean out my grapevine is a butter knife. So you can get them at the Dollar Tree for like, I don't know, you can probably get 4 for $1. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through, and this is nice because it allows you to go all the way through the grapevine and push all those leaves out. So if you just do the trim haircut, go ahead and decorate it and send it out. The problem is by the time it gets to your customer, you're gonna have a lot of debris in the box from the box getting shifted, picked up, dropped, moved. And I know what I can pull out of a grapevine is crazy. So that's like one less thing you want to have when the customer opens it. So yes, there will be some, but not as crazy as if you don't do the prep work on your grapevine. So always take time to do that. So I'm just gonna go through here right now and pull off. I've done the majority. So what I do is I run my hands over the top, back and forth, and what I'm trying to feel for is any twigs, little end points that might stick out, and I go in with my wire cutters and I just trim all those out. Like I said, a lot of them are just little shoots off the bigger branches, and like I said, I think I've done most of the trim. I try to leave a lot of the curlicues on because that's what makes the grapevines look so amazing. And then don't forget, you're going to want to do it on the back side, especially the back side, because this is the side that's going to rest up against the door if they don't have a wreath hanger or something along those lines. So really make sure that you have no protruding sticks, broken branches. When you're done, make sure that if you are incorporating any floral, that there's no floral branch ends sticking through. So you just want to make sure, again, that you're doing that same thing and you're just feeling, because I find it's easier to feel it than just to kind of do a visual quick look on the grapevine itself. So if you just take that extra step, it just makes your grapevines look that much more nice. So I'm just trying to get this little nub. It's just like where one is kind of, let's see, I might want to get my zip tie cutters. Look for those. Looking. Watch, they'll be the last thing that I probably pull out of my box. And yeah, they're all the way at the bottom. So these are just for cutting the zip tie ends off, but they get really super close. So they're kind of indented. And I know you don't want me to do it with this, but it's my tool. So yes, it's for cutting the little tips off of your zip ties. Okay, so we're ready to begin. Any questions before we start?
Hi Simone, first of all. Hi Wilhelmina, hi some gals. Deborah asked, have you ever spray painted your grapevine?
Yes, I have.
If so, what color spray did you use?
I used black.
Black,
and believe it or not, did we do orange?
Yeah, we've done orange for Halloween. We've done black.
I know I've done black.
We've done white, I think, as well.
Maybe, but I go to Lowe's and I buy the cheapest can of spray paint. It's like 99 cents. And then just take a coat hanger, like a wire hanger from the dry cleaners, and then spray it, let it dry, spray it again, you know, flip it. Yeah. It turns out really nice, believe it or not.
But you'll go through the whole can.
Most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah. If you want to, depends on how thick your grapevine is too. Like this one is super thick, but it's okay. I don't need to worry about thinning it out because I need to put picks in because we're going to put that swag around it.
And we did it with a flat spray paint.
Yes. Okay, so then what you're going to need is, this is called an Americana Bunting. I bought this last year in April from eBay because the person who was selling them, Annie's Treasures on Etsy, had sold out. So I will spare you the time. Don't go look. Her shop is completely sold out already. And if you were to try to order these, I think they're back ordered all the way until mid-August, and that's like all they have. So you might not even get it back in August. So the only place that I have seen that has it is eBay. eBay has 12 of them that are for sale. The exact same one I'm using tonight, which is 22 inches from top to bottom, and then it's 10 feet. I have it opened. So it's 10 feet. And so what people use them for is to drape their mantles, to drape their windows, sconces, and they kind of tie knots in the corners, that kind of thing. So we're using this to swag it. And I prefer to double it because, I don't know if you guys can see this, it's fairly sheer. Can you see through that, Steve?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Probably
So I'm going to show you what
camera,
it
but
looks
can see
like if you don't double it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your grapevine already cleaned, and you are going to, I'm trying not to get it too close to the skillet. You want to open.
She's going to show you both ways.
Yeah, I'll show you why I don't prefer it this way. It just looks, it looks too cheap. So
Well, it's thin, yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, it looks like you just kind of did the bare minimum. So you're going to position your grapevine in the middle of your bunting. You're going to take one end and you're going to pull it. You're going to take the other side and pull it. And it's going to be how much do you swag it, how much do you cover up the grapevine. It's going to be entirely up to you as a designer. Some people like to cover 3/4 of the wreath with the flag. I call it a flag swag because it looks like a flag, but it's not really a flag. So, and make sure you put that in your Etsy listings. This is not a flag. This is just bunting material. It's a scarf. Otherwise, you will get tons of angry comments telling you, how dare you disrespect the flag that way. So you're going to basically just kind of pull it, but this is the single ply method. So you can see through that. So depending upon if there's going to be light going through, that's an option you have. I prefer the second way, which is the way I'm going to teach you.
Plus, then you have a lot of it hanging off. Right?
Yeah, there's a ton of people that say, okay, well, what do you do with all the leftover the leftover part that's hanging? And that's something you have to deal with. So let me make sure I'm doing this exactly in half. And you can iron it, but it won't really matter because you're going to want to pleat it or make it wrinkly anyway. And then what you're going to want is you're going to fold your material. So I've doubled it. So now I'm only working with 5 feet instead of 10 feet. You're going to use it with the folded side to the left and the open end side here to the right. And you're going to do the same thing. I really want to move my skillet because I don't want to put this in it. You want to make sure, I'm trying to think of about half, it's almost, let me look. It's almost halfway. You just want a little bit on the top. You want more on the bottom than on the top. And you only need enough on the top to go around. Like if I was to gather this right now, I have, let me show you guys. I have this much swagging, which is about
right.
Huh?
It's about right, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm looking at the measurements. It's about 14-inch like long swag. And so I have the top, and all the top is going to do is go around and to the back. So you want to make sure that you have enough to get it around once. All it's going to do is wrap around your bunting part. So however you position this, you want to make sure that you have enough to go all the way around once. So, and then the hard part begins, because this is the way I see them on Etsy all the time. There is loose tops and loose bottoms. I don't like that look. I prefer to see it pulled. So in doing so, we want to make sure we're not pulling on the top, even though that's where we're trying to get the look. Because what we'll end up doing is we'll pull excess material to the top, and then we'll shorten the actual tails of our flag. So for me, it has stitching on the top here, and it's got stitching on the bottom, so I like to fold that stitching in because I don't like to see that when it's swagging. So I'll just fold those in just like this. And this is the hardest part. So once you get your flag tied on there, I call it a flag even though it's not a flag, it just looks like a flag. Once you get it tied on there, the rest is super easy. So, and what I generally do is I'm trying to see if you start doing this, you start getting more than your half. So you want to make sure you're just pulling your edges tight. So you're going to be pulling from the back and from the top. But what you're trying to do is even pleats. It's just entirely up to you. For some reason, it always makes it to where I have more beige, less blue, and less red. So I'm going to do it that way. And sometimes having branches on your grapevine can be an asset, because that's where you can kind of get some of your fabric to kind of tighten on it for you. So I'm just kind of looking. I think I have like a little curly key right here because I see it's making a little lump. So I'm going to pull from the back, so that'll tighten up my sides. Get my stitching covered. So I find that if you just pull it from the side to the middle, all the way around, you can get it pretty snug. And you don't want to pull too hard, because then your grapevine goes from a circular to an oval, which is way too tight.
No, that was not an infinity scarf. It's an actual swag or bunting.
It's called a bunting.
Yep.
Because it's meant to go over your fireplace.
Mantle, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doorways.
Yep. And I want just a little bit more on top. Just a touch, not a much. And then same thing. Trying to get it all snug on the tops. But I want it to be kind of puckered. Kind of like that. That's perfect. And then, once you've got your sides done, your seams are done. So it looks like this. So you've got tight tops, tight bottoms. Then what you can do, because Steve was asking me, can you use a zip tie? I'm like, yeah, you could, once you have everything where you want it to go. So, no, I need pipe cleaners. I had to.
On beige?
Yes, beige, please. I have them. I also have a zip tie too. Thanks. So once you get it to where you want, you are going to take, I prefer to go, I think I go bottom, I go around the bottom, and then I try to fan out my material a little bit like this. You are not going to see where I have this wrapped, but you just want to make sure, again, you've tightened up your sides and your bottoms. So for now, we're going to use this pipe cleaner just to hold this in place so it doesn't move anywhere. And then you can make some last minute adjustments, meaning if you don't want as much beige showing, you can come back in and pull your beige around. Because once you, again, nothing's permanent. And the only reason I do it this way is if the customer wants to deconstruct the thing just to use the bunting, they can. So I'm not doing anything to harm the material in here at all. So let me go. You can see
That's a good question.
What's that?
Debbie, or Deborah just asked, could you use like a table runner that's like this instead of a swag? As long as it's wide enough, yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna need, like I said, if you want to double it, just depends on the thickness of your material. This is actually pretty thick when it's doubled, so I don't need to do anything else to it. So we're gonna go over, and then we'll flip this around. This way I can get the stars and stripes on here better. Okay, so once that's on there, your choice. You can zip tie it. That way you know it's not going to come undone. You can leave your pipe cleaner in there. I prefer to add that rustic flare of some twine, which I should have pre-cut, but we can do that. So I'm going to take it and flip it upside down because we want that on the back. I'm going to go ahead and take my pipe cleaner out. Let me go ahead. I didn't want to take that all the way out. Here we go. But this will make for a nice, I'm gonna make sure I'm getting my red, white, and blue. I think I went the wrong way. And I just repositioned everything. Okay. I wanted my stars facing up. Flipping over, I'm gonna take my twine and we're gonna go ahead and secure your swag. So zip tie works fine, pipe cleaner works fine. So we're gonna keep it all rustic.
And you could put a dot of glue on the knot if you want to.
You don't need to, it stays.
Yeah.
Like once it's there, it stays. And then this will be your tail that is displayed once you finish. So that was the super hard part. So let me show you the options you have for embellishing it. So normally what I do is I make a really nice coordinating patriotic bow. Something like this, and I'll kind of put that over the knot so that you have your swag at the side and at the bottom. You could, so I went and found these two Hobby Lobby, because some of your Hobby Lobbies are open. You could get the metal stars. I think they had these out for Patriotic. These were $2.99 last year. So you can incorporate a star if you don't want to do a bow. So you can kind of position that. You would just punch holes in it and then go ahead and secure it, tie it on. It used to be like that. Go ahead and secure it onto your swag, and then you can embellish it any way you want. So you have those options depending upon what your preference is. I like the blue, although the blue tends to blend in better than the red did, but those are options. There's other ones that they also have that are the American flag. So you can come in with something like this and embellish it that way. Steve likes the stars. Mm-hmm. So those are some options you have if you don't want to do a bow. And then you could either decorate it with, you could do cotton branches. You could do some of the flowers that we've had in our Patriotic floral, red and white roses. Although I would kind of not put white in it because you're going with that rustic look. Mm-hmm. But you could do like carnations. You could do red roses, maybe a little bit more faded. There's some, I'm trying to think of like bluebells, blue bonnets. You can come in with like Queen Anne's lace. You can decorate this in a wide range of floral. Just be conscious that the amount of stuff that you put into it, you're starting to add in costs. So it depends on what your price point is. And these are going for the low end that I saw today was like $45, and all it was is this tied into a knot, and I think they had a bow on it and maybe a couple of flowers. That was it. I don't think it was that big either. And they go all the way up to 105, 125, and those are the ones that are going to be way more, you know, elaborate.
Decked out, yeah.
But you also, some of them aren't that elaborate. Some of them are going to have less stuff on it. Then I'm going to show you what we're going to add to ours today. So it's entirely up to you. They're hard to find because I even went to Joann's in desperation last year trying to find it to see if Joann's made fabric like this, and no, they don't. So if anyone tries to tell you this is an American flag, this is not an American flag. It's just material that's sewn together. There's not even stripes in it. It has one tan stripe, one burgundy, and then your field of stars and stripes. So, all right, we are going to add a bow. So really simple. I'm going to use the 2.5 inch ribbon because I'm kind of doing coordinating colors of the stars and stripes. This came from Hobby Lobby. And then, in staying with our Americana colors with the burgundy, the beige, and the blue, we're going to add this in lieu of the stars and stripes because I think the stars and the stripes is a little more red and a little bit more brighter blue than I want for this one. So I know that's what you're thinking. I'm looking at Steve. That's what he's thinking. So this one's a little different. So let me push this one to the side.
You're looking for more of a vintage, rustic look.
Without going flag.
Right.
Because there is ribbon that's very rustic, but you don't want to put flag ribbon, like a total flag ribbon, on a bunting. It just looks better if you pull certain parts of it, because then it's like, it's too confusing. So those were the options I had.
Yep. Alix said, what word did you use to search on Etsy or on eBay?
For the wreath or for the material?
For the material, I think.
The material is just bunting. That's all it is. bunting. Yeah. And it has to be 10 feet or more, and it has to be at least 22 inches wide, right? Or long.
Right, long, yeah.
Because it's 10 feet long.
10 feet long, 22 inches wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends on how you use it. So.
And then Deborah, for metal sign, she would obviously, if she needed to, as a bigger sign, you just poke a hole in it with the beadsmith hole punch.
Yeah.
And then put wire through it and attach it that way.
Exactly. To do these ones, well, it already has the little, the brass hanger in there, so I'd probably already use that because it's right side up. So I would just put a pipe cleaner in there, wrap it around, tie it really good, and kind of tuck it under the bunting, and that would be the end of that.
And for a wood initial, you just staple gun it to the back with the pipe cleaner.
As long as your sign is a 1/4 inch thick or more, then just staple gun it. There's no point in trying to do adhesive ties with glue on wood. It's like staple gun, make it simple on yourself. And then if it's a metal sign, as long as you can hole punch it, punch a hole in it instead of using the adhesive ties. I use those as kind of like a last, like nothing else works.
And
or
then,
have nothing else.
Because you already have posted this on Etsy, right? What was the word that you used when you posted on Etsy to search for?
Patriotic flag grapevine is what I used to search for this.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that's how customers are going to think of this. It's a patriotic flag, right? Wrapped around a grapevine is what they're going to think. They're not going to go, it's a patriotic Americana bunting grapevine. They're not going to look at it the same way as we would.
But your keywords would be patriotic,
Americana,
swag, bunting, something like that.
I would ex-nay bunting. I would just do patriotic, Americana, grapevine, swag. Because that's all it is. It's a swag. It's wrapped around. You could do patriotic.
There you go. Debbie said I found it under patriotic bunting.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So, dovetail. You're going to take your wired ribbon. You're going to fold them so the wired edges are together. Or in this case, they're actually right on the stars and stripes. You're gonna cut from the folded side to the open end. That'll be the easiest way to do it on ribbon that doesn't really have wired edges together. And we wanna try to go a pretty good point. And because this, we don't want something with, you know, we don't want the tails from our bow to go beyond the bunting of our material, because then it would look way crazy. So we want these ones a little bit shorter. So this is about, like I said, 12 to 14 inches, depends on where you're measuring it, from the bottom of the knot down or from the top. We're gonna make these 7.5 inches is gonna be the tail length. And this will tell you, this is about where that's going to fall on our wreath once we add it to the bow.
Yep.
So 7.5 is perfect. This one's going to be an oddball kind of a bow. So this does not fall in my usual way of doing bow making, because well, except for this one, I wouldn't use longer than the bunting. This is going to be 4-inch loops. So 7.5 inch tail, 4-inch loop. So you know me, I'm always keeping it back on my 10s. And we can almost, no, it looks so odd. It kind of goes against your grain as you're starting to pull that. You're like, it's too small, it's too small, it's too small. Trust me, let's go 4.5. Because I'm seriously looking at 4 going, that is just way too small. So we'll do 4 inches, and we're gonna do a double set. So there's 4.5, and then we're just gonna double those. We're gonna pull those in. And do the same thing. Knowing that the bottom one's already 4.5, it's super simple to kind of put your fingers in them and pull. And then remember, we want a 7.5 inch tail. And then we need to dovetail that. It's always odd when you have the wire in the middle. That one's there. And then we're gonna do this just because I like how it matches the bunting perfectly. And we're gonna do the exact same tail length as the one below it. So this one's another funny one. The wire's in the middle. 7.5. And then this one we're doing 3-inch loops, because this is a very small, because if you think about it, the size of our star, that eats up a lot of real estate right there. So you don't want to have a super large bow, because then it's going to look like it's way too big. So 3 inches. And I think the first couple of times I did this, I kind of went out of my pattern, and I was like, that just doesn't look right. I'm gonna do it the way it feels like it should be. And then I had to end up taking it all apart because the loops were too big. So same thing, 3 inches, 3 inches, and then let's put our tail at 7.5. There we go. This one's all done. Hobby Lobby for the first ribbon, and then this one came from Craft Outlet. And I am almost positive Craft Outlet's ordering is probably disabled by this time. It was disabled most of this week. I think it came back online Tuesday. And I would almost bet that it's no longer enabled. So we're just going to pick this up, and we are going to put our pipe cleaner on it. Since it's a fairly small bow, I'm not going to fluff this on my fluff board. There's no reason, because you can hand fluff this one. It's fairly small. So what you're going to want to do is you want to pull all your tails to the front. So just grab those and get them all down. And then you're going to pull your bottom. You're going to pull one to the top and one to the bottom. Do the same here. You're just going to spread those loops apart, keeping your tails down. And then you're going to do the same thing for your loops in the middle. You're just going to pull them apart. Super simple bow. And then once it gets on there, then we can actually fluff it a little bit better. So let me show you what it's going to kind of look like.
And you're going to attach it right around the...
Goes right around exactly like where you would have put your zip tie, or exactly where you would have put your twine. You're just going to put it right around the little knot ball.
Gotcha. Teresa looks like she shared the link for that American Bunting.
Oh, awesome.
But then she said it sold. She said they sold 15. So you just have to keep watching for it.
I think that's pretty much about it. I mean, I went through and I went to Amazon, I went to eBay, I went to just a Google search, and it's like on Google search you'll get tons of people on Pinterest that have photos of them, but nobody's selling them. So those go pretty quickly. When they think they have them, they start selling them in April, and then yeah, by beginning of May they're done. So there's where we're at with our bow. What do you guys think so far?
Yep.
I'm building it upside down.
That's good.
Okay. So let me pull. I'm going to tighten this because I like just a little bit tighter. Okay. Now we want to embellish it with more Americana type decor. So I am going to use a combination of red, this is kind of like a red ivory and burgundy Pip Berry, and they have rusted stars glued or wired to them. So let me try to get these ones unwrapped. So they're rusted berries in ivory, and I think there's 6 on each, so it's a red, white, blue, red, white, and blue. I try to get them to where they kind of go in sync, but a lot of times the way that they have them built, they don't generally work out that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 sets of the Pip Berries with the metal stars. So here's another one. And then we're going to incorporate one of the bigger picks. This kind of has like a tea stain leaf. So it is burgundy berries with the ivory and the blue. And the super easy part of this is all you're going to need to do is, because we're working with the grapevine, you're going to simply add it right into your wreath like that. Go ahead and lay out your top and bottom and make sure you're happy with the way that those are. And then you're gonna do the same thing with your Pip Berries on either side with the rusted stars.
So you're doing 2 on each side, so a total of 4 that you're using?
I'm doing a total of, it's 2 of just the Pip Berries with the rusted stars, and then just a single one with the bigger, larger berries.
Gotcha.
So these just kind of accent the other side, but because these ones already have the rusted metal stars in them, last year they didn't have them attached to the Pip Berries. I actually hand wired them all onto my berries where I needed them to go. So once you're kind of happy with the general placement, it may not be the positioning of how they're draping. As long as they're in the same, like in the place where you want them to be, go ahead and glue them. And then once the glue sets, these are all wired all the way down to the end, so you could take them, you could arc them, you could, where the metal stars are, if you want the stars more on top, you can kind of move the placements of the berry branches. Make sure these ones are where I want them to be.
You're gonna go ahead and glue them down?
Yeah, I'm just making sure, yeah, that the ones I have are meant to go here. So I'm going to pull them out. I actually hooked this one around one of my branches. I'll pull out my other Pip Berries. And then I have my glue skillet, so I'm just gonna do the whole, dip it in there.
Be generous.
Be generous, yeah. This is Gorilla Glue, so I can actually take this and really push that in. And because my glue is just at a melting point, I can actually pick it up fairly quickly and move it if I need to. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and dip this in there. We're going to add this
Dorothy
to the
said,
top.
"This is beautiful." Karen said, awesome as always, Kat. You're so talented."
Oh, thank
Marie
you.
said, "Hi, Kat. Beautiful Wreath. Thanks for sharing." Marie from Ohio. And Debbie Hyder said, "This is my favorite Americana design."
I love this design. Like I said, this was what our group had asked me to figure out how to make. So it's never just figure out how to make it, it's you also have to come up with the supplies so we can all order it. So a lot of times it's like, well, I found enough. I think last year I found 6 of the buntings. So I was able to keep 2. You know, we did 1 for the private group. We kept 2, and then we sold them. We sold them back to the group last year. Because people, I'm trying to think, the average price for these, the bunting, is about $20 to $23 is what you're looking at paying for your bunting. So what I'm doing with my metal stars is I'm actually, they have little wires that go around the bottom. So I take the wires and I'm just like looping them around the branches so that they're not free floating out here in the wild bee yonder. Okay, so there's that, and now we're going to do the same with the bottom. Although the bottom we don't have to be as generous because it's going to hang this way, but we're still going to have some of our Pip Berries coming out the bottom. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm not even going to worry about picking. I'm just going to do my dip.
Dip and shove.
Dip and stick it in there. I'm just trying to get it past my branch. And remember, we'll adjust once it hardens. So I'm gonna make this one go to the inside, and the thinner of the 2 go to the outside. So we're kind of tucking it under the swag into the grapevine. So I'm just pulling back the swag, pulling back the bow. This is why cleaning out your grapevine is handy, so that you can move these. I'm going to pull on my glue threads, throw them all back in my pot, and then we're going to go ahead and fan these ones out in the way they should go. So we want to secure our metal stars the same way. So they just have a little hook on them. So there's one. And this is where I'm going to take these and kind of, I straighten them out and then I kind of curve them so that they kind of follow the pattern of the grapevine. Take the thread this one off.
Julie said she remembers this one from last year, and she was gonna buy the bunting, but never ended up buying
I think it went so fast. Even when I listed them, I'm like, okay, everyone, be generous. Like, if you buy one, that's great, but save some for everybody else. No, that didn't really happen. So, I have some, but they won't be here until August, which sadly, I mean, they can be used for any holiday, but at least we'll have them for next year. It was just nice enough for the vendor to, I had to reach out to them a couple times and say, what's up with the order? And they're like, oh, sorry, we're back ordered. So, and then, like I said, Annie's Treasure had them, I think, through this week. And then she sold out as well.
Carol asked, where did you find the stems?
Oh, okay. So the Pip Berries, the ones I used today came from Factory Direct Outlet, which is a wholesaler. So you have to have a wholesale license to get your Pip Berries. The reason why I like using theirs is, number one, the cost. They're about, depends on, like the ones with the rusted stars are a little bit more, and the ones with the fatter berries are more. But like for these ones, which I was contemplating using, but they have more of a yellow tone to them, these are like $1.59, and they come in a ton of colors. But the nice thing is these are wired all the way to the tips. The ones that you get at like Joann's, Michael's, and Hobby Lobby, they're wired at the bottom, but then the minute that the berries are attached, it's plastic, so there's no life. So if you wanted to take them and bend them, it's not going to bend. It's going to stay in the same place. And with doing the Americana with the Pip Berries, you need that movement in your berries or your branches, so you need it to move.
Right. Julie said, I saw a table run that says it's about 54 inches. Is that long enough? I think that's a little too short.
54? That's less than 5 feet. It's a little less than 5 feet, so I think it might work, but where you're going to end up come up short is here. Yeah. So you're going to come up a little shorter on this end. So it's entirely up to you. Okay, so you have options. You can add stuff to the center of your bow. You can come in with your metal rusted star. You can add a rusted star to the middle. I'm trying to think of what else you could add. Raffia. I actually went to 2 different stores today to look for raffia, because raffia looks amazing when you stick it in the center of this. Sadly, it won't be here till Sunday, but I'm going to be adding a raffia bow to the center of this so that it adds to that primitive rustic feel. But for me, I'm technically done. I don't have anything else to add.
You're not going to add the star? Oh, you're going to wait for the raffia?
I want the raffia in it, yeah. Okay. So I just prefer the raffia because with it, like I said, it's an option you have. If you go to Factory Direct Craft, you can get a box of the, or a bag of the rusted metal stars. These are 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches in diameter. I don't know what the cost is, but you can get 100 of them. And then that'll pretty much see you through the Christmas, fall.
A year.
Yeah. So, and I've had mine for over a year and I haven't had to use them. I like the fact though that if you wanted to add more, like if I wanted to add this one here, I could, just because one of these came up short. So I could add this down into
the Pip Berries. The
Pip Berry area. Yeah, and give it a different feel. So let me show you what it looks like on the door. So, and that's it. It's super simple. So, like I said, the hardest part is swagging your material. So, and you can swag from the left, or you can swag it. Ooh, I don't want it to go under my branch. There we go. And that is it. Short and simple. And you always want to make sure you have the open end here, so it looks nicer when it's in the wind. You don't want to have this as your folded end. The folded end is what we wrapped around to make our knot, if you want to call it a knot, to hold everything in place.
And you can move it to where the bow's up a little bit higher, depending upon how you hang it.
It depends. You can just, you know, it's up to you.
Yeah.
I prefer to have it a little bit angled down, but that's just me. Steve might want it a different way. Now I'm like, right there. Okay.
Carol asked, could you use a smaller grapevine if you can't find a bunting long enough?
Yeah,
or is this a good size that people like? This is a great size people like, but
you've got to look at the size of an average door. Width is 36 inches. So this finished is about, I think from here to here is about 21 inches. Just depends on where people are measuring it. So this is an average size door. So you can see what an 18-inch grapevine looks like. I probably wouldn't go with anything smaller than a 14. And even then a 14 would probably look
a little small.
A little small. So you might want to go with a longer tail or something that creates the illusion of bigger. Maybe have your Pip Berries like fan out a little bit more. Or put a bigger star here.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
That's it.
This was my short and sweet one. So you saw how easy it is to put together. Now it's going to be hunting down the bunting.
Hunting the bunting.
Hunting the bunting, yes. So all I can say is it's a 10-foot. This is a cotton bunting, so it's not a polyester. It's not plastic, and it's the tea stain version, so it's not like a white, it's a cream.
Right.
Okay.
Kim said, I'm so glad you did this. I've been wanting to do one just like that. Karen said, it really turned out beautiful.
Thank you.
Susan said, just hung mine up from last year today. Awesome. Debbie said, eBay listing Old Glory bunting 10 foot by 20 inches. That would probably work.
That's probably, if it's 23 something, that's the one. So if it looks like this one does, it doesn't have the stars and stripe field on the top and bottom, that's the right one.
It says Old Glory bunting, so
that would be it.
Yeah,
so I think they only had 12 when I checked at like 4. So.
Oh, Jesse said, "Can I see the other wreath?"
Oh, yeah. So this was the other version we did, and this version is actually already in the public group. So I did one similar to this last year. So this is the tea-stained American flag. Same thing, you just do the American flag, you do your Pip Berries. I add the wooden star for more effect, and then I do the stars and stripes ribbon. Just keep it simple.
And then she really starched the flag.
Oh yeah, because you want the ripples to stay.
Right.
So, and you don't want to glue it, because you'll see the glue tacked in all the places. The glue will bleed through the fabric of your flag. So there you guys go. Super simple. This will appeal to the Americana, the country rustic look that people like. And these are all year round. So these will sell not just during your patriotic holidays, they'll sell throughout the year. So, okay. So private group, we are doing Sunday. We are making sunflower deco mesh flowers. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. And then we're doing photo editing on Monday. So if those of you want to join my private group, they get the materials list. It's basically like, let me show you what it looks like. It's like this. It's cat transcribed notes of everything. How big the materials were, where's the SKU number, where did she order that. It's basically a shopping list so that they can replicate the designs. That goes with every wreath tutorial or design we make in the public or the private group. Plus you get access to my entire library from February of 2018 to current. So I don't hold anything back if you join today. If you want to sign up, 2 ways to do it. $17 a month. You go to KatsCreationsNMore.com, Scroll all the way to the bottom. At the very bottom is the monthly sign up link and request to join the private group. If you want to save 2 months and pay for 10 months up front, there's a separate link for a 1-year membership, and then you get 2 months free. Plus, you get discounts from all the vendors that, not all of them, a large chunk of the vendors that most of the wreath makers use today. So you can apply for those discounts now. So that's pretty much it. Any other questions?
That's it.
I made
It's
sure I
11. Have a
covered
great
everything.
weekend. Somebody asked where you got the flag from.
The flag, Factory Direct Crafts.
Yep.
And I'm making sure that I hit all of my notes. First timers, YouTube, like and follow, share. Yeah. Oh, make sure you like and follow the page if you want to get notified when I go live. So sometimes we do pop-up ones. So if you want to make sure you don't miss those, just make sure you like and follow the page, and then you should get a notification when I go live. That was it.
Yep.
Okay, everyone, have a great weekend. Private group, I'll see you Sunday. We're making sunflower wreaths. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.